Hi, and welcome to the Super Anti-Aging Podcast, or as I also have reframed it, the Healthy Boomer Podcast. As many of you know, I'm a boomer, and my biological age just doesn't really match, but that's fine. Let me share an interesting video that Dr. Lee, who does some really nice videos if you get to see him on YouTube. And he talked about gray hair and reversing gray hair. I've done it, and I've done it to some of my clients. And I like some of the things he said. I think they were great. I think there's more how to do. Okay. And it really wasn't my initial goal to reverse some of the gray hair, or one of his hair, but I think it was a byproduct of doing all the age reversal. And he talked about copper. It's kind of interesting, as being part of the pigment, and getting enough copper in your diet. And probably, you could do a copper blood test and find out for you. Really load up on copper. And the idea that a lot of people are taking a lot of zinc because of the immune studies on zinc, and they can affect the zinc-copper ratio so that they're suppressing the copper. And then he talked about oxidative stress. Now, many of these podcasts that I've done have talked about it. Once I asked my professor, please explain this in a way that people can relate to. He said, well, the oxidative stress is like a campfire, and you need it. You need oxidative stress for the warmth and the cooking of food. Well, oxidative stress goes on in the body all the time, and it's part of our immune system. It's part of energy production. It's very important. But what happens when those rocks don't control the fire? You burn down the forest. And excessive oxidative stress can lead to lots of damage in the body. It can lead to joint damage. It can lead to skin damage. Well, that's what sunburn is. Sunburn, you're producing excessive oxidative stress from the radiation from the sun. There's a perfect example of excessive oxidative stress. Well, the idea was, with this gray hair concept, if you can control the levels of oxidative stress, you would help protect the mechanism that gives you the pigment for your hair. And so, on the top of my list, of course, is glutathione. I was co-authored a book many, many moons ago on glutathione, but it wasn't that popular at the time. Okay. And glutathione is the main antioxidant produced in the body. The majority of glutathione is produced in your liver. 3 amino acids: glutamine, glycine, and cysteine. Very, very important. Stress, environmental toxins, medications, acetaminophen, or Tylenol can all negatively affect the production of glutathione. Exposed to air pollution certainly can affect it. And so glutathione is on the top of my list. I like to do it a couple different ways. I'll take an oral glutathione that I know is backed up by good science. And you will absorb some. You'll absorb some. There was an idea that your stomach would digest the glutathione, but that was proved negative. You'll still take some of those amino acids and rebuild it. I like the glutathione spray. That's great. I'll use that orally. Makes a big, big difference. Get some lingual. And glycine. Very, very important. Glycine, the amino acid. Glutamine, glycine, and cysteine. Taking sufficient amount of glycine. I add that to my smoothie in the morning. Real important to add that glycine. And there are other nutritional ways. Certainly sulforaphane, wonderful sulforaphane from broccoli seed, has had some interesting hair studies and can help with glutathione levels. And lots and lots can be done. But here's the key. I gave you some suggestions. It needs to be personalized. Roger Williams, father of nutrition individuality, biochemical individuality. We all have a biochemical individuality. And you might not need the glutathione. You might be fine. You might be doing fine on your antioxidants. By the way, the other antioxidants besides glutathione is the polyphenols, from blueberries. Right? Blueberries, aronia, those pigmented berries. So important. And then mushrooms. There seems to be some interesting compounds in the mushrooms that can affect the hair and can affect oxidative stress. In fact, this is so exciting. One at the top of my list now, I've said it before in some of the other podcasts, ergothioneine, found in mushrooms. Okay, different levels in different mushrooms, lion's mane, oyster, shiitake. And now it's available as a supplement. And what's makes this so incredibly exciting, it passes the blood-brain barrier as an antioxidant. And we now think that a lot of cognitive defects are the inability of the brain to handle oxidative stress. And then, as a byproduct of oxidative stress, you get inflammation. Well, think about this a second. We can make a little picture. Your brain is encapsulated, right? What do you think happens when there's a little swelling in the brain? Not a good thing. Not a good thing. So, ergothioneine. The other interesting thing is it was found to pass into the eyes. Right? And now we're talking possible eye improvement and maybe possibly slowing or reversing cataract or macula. So, easy to do. You can add the mushrooms. You could take an ergothioneine supplement. If you take an ergothioneine supplement, I suggest at least 20 milligrams. There's been no reported side effects in all the studies that have been done on this. Why now is it so available? Because there was a method developed to extract it. Before, it would cost thousands and thousands of dollars. So now it's very inexpensive. So ergo might be tied into helping with gray hair because, again, you're dealing with oxidative stress. So that's the gray hair part that we've talked about. So what I'm going to be doing with these podcasts is I'm going to make them shorter so they can be clips. And please subscribe. Please share these on your social media. If you find these really interesting, feel free to contact me. I have a group on Facebook called Super Anti-Aging. You can check that out. And if you keep listening, I'll keep you posted. I will. My absolute goal is to have finally a new website up, and we can have a lot of this information on there. So thank you so much for listening.